Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here at Road America. I am Austin Knight. I'm joined by Sebastian Bobster Williams with John Robertson in the production booth, and you're here live watching Apex Racing TV. Sebastian, Road America, the road with, I would say, two different types of corners. One that are actually corners and one that they made up.
Well, you've gotten there already, Austin. We've been live for less than a minute, but yeah,
it's been drilling into my head this entire week. Anytime I look at this track, I just go, "That's not a corner."
Well, it gets very confusing for us commentators, drivers, and spectators alike. Yeah, Road America really known for its extraneous corner numbers. Well, welcome along to another Formula 3.5 race. What promises to be such an enthralling race today. Austin, this track is going to be all about DRS usage, all about slipstream, all about overtaking. And about us mentioning as many times as possible how Turn 5 isn't actually Turn 5, it is undoubtedly Turn 3, and no track designer will say any differently.
And Turn 2 is not the second corner you turn right on, even though it's followed by Turn 3, but then they included Turn 3A, which has a more unique turn than Turn 2. Are you confused yet? Look at the track map.
I'm always confused when we're in the commentary booth together, Austin, but I'm more confused than I normally are, which I think is a new record. It is really confusing, and I hope that, I don't think it'll ever change, but I do hope that common sense will prevail. But of course, it's all about the motorbike racing, and actually corners that aren't corners in four wheels become really difficult and tricky corners on two wheels. So that's why we always have these extra corner numbers. But yeah, it won't be an issue for our Formula 3.5 drivers today. Actually, not many of these corners are going to be issues. There's so much downforce and grip that these cars have. It surely will be a blast to be taking these feats of engineering around the circuit today.
Yeah, qualifying is going on right now. Currently sitting on top of the leaderboard right now is Eddie Samborski, Sergio Macias, and Carlos Derecho. Our top three, we had Jorge Lopez Exposito in the chat earlier today, and they were sitting up on pole, but I believe that was during qualifying or their practice session, so we're expecting Lopez to be pretty fast as well. Omar Baja, Morgan Keane in there, as we are currently looking at Takashi Shinoda as they fly through the bottom of the track, through the kink. One of my most favorite parts about this track, that kink in lower downforce cars, it's always so tricky, especially in the skippies on lap 1. I remember I would have PTSD in practice. It's like, you gotta remember, take it slow, and in the race is always crazy. You don't have to worry about it in these cars because they have all that downforce, and it's so lovely to drive through here. A lot of green on that time sheet for Takashi as they come across the line at the top of the hill and jump up into 14th place. Behind them is Jorge Lopez. Lopez, with a blistering time, puts himself up into 8th place.
Qualifying ever important around Road America. It's quite a long run down to turn 1, which in theory should mean that qualifying isn't so advantageous, but it's a really tight turn 1. You can't really get many overtaking moves done on the opening lap, so the further you start, or the further forward you start the race, the better your chances are of surviving the first lap. Samborski lighting your timing screens up. 3 purple sectors so far this lap. Austin hazard a guess that he might go even quicker than his previous attempt.
Yeah, there's purple in there, but there's also some yellow, and he does go faster just by a little bit. 147, 294. Eddie Samborski increases his gap to Theodore Burns, who makes his return. Theodore Burns had a nasty crash in here in real life in a Formula V race where he went a little bit airborne in the penultimate corner.
Hopefully won't be recreating that today, although if there's any places to make a mistake, it's certainly in the virtual world. Dennis Cornu rounds the final corner, and I think today, Austin, that will be a really difficult corner for the drivers to get right. You tend to see lots of incidents and spins around there. So we've got some corners to watch out for. Cornu sets the fastest final sector out of anybody so far in today's qualifying session. So Cornu, he's 7/10 off, but he's got some pace. Watch out for him when the race gets underway in earnest.
Yeah, Dennis Cornu is looking pretty good right there. And this midfield fight are always around Road America is always so fun to watch. I remember last time that we came here, there was a big last lap overtake, which I lost my mind on because it was around the outside of the final corner. A very late braking move by a one-and-done driver from the Porsche Esports Championship. So that was very nice to see some drivers from other disciplines hopping in here and just having a little bit of fun.
Always nice to see a little bit of variety in our drivers. Of course, we had a Formula 2 driver a few weeks ago, Frederick Vesti. Always good to see some new names on the grid.
He's not on track today as he's in Dubai.
He is. He's actually
Abu
on
Dhabi.
a real racetrack. Abu Dhabi,
Yeah.
he is. No spoilers, please, Austin. I haven't quite seen a Formula 2 race yet.
I watched it till the red flag and then I passed out. 'Cause
Spoilers?
It was lap 1.
Even more spoilers.
It was at 3 a.m. for me. So, you know, like most races are. Your qualifying grid right now. Eddie Samborski is starting up on pole, followed by Theodore Burns, Carlos Derecho, Sergio Macias, and Jorge Lopez, followed by Omar Baja, Miguel Crespo, and Dennis Cordu. Morgan Keane, Jason Sieg, Lucas is behind them, followed by John Owen, Simone Pisca, J.M. Lawrence, Jay Burns, Shane Lambert, Yaya Ennis, Anakin, Takashi Shinodi, Kobus, Marie, Carl Lemkool, Gerard Rotz, Jamie Byrne, Dino Gaz, Leonardo Reiter, and Isaac Ruska. At the end of our 25 car grid, a lot of drivers signed up for this. 50 signups right as the timer hit 0. So 25 drivers. Oh boy. Are you ready for this, Sebastian?
I think I am, if I'm completely honest. It's always carnage, it's always chaos, it's always worth a watch around Road America. Watch, especially for the start. This track is notorious for having dangerous opening or start line accidents. Drivers really have to rise over the hill, especially as you get to the latter sort of 10, 15 cars on the grid. It's almost blind for some of them, so if somebody doesn't get away well, which can happen, you can't see it until it's a little bit too late. Thoroughly looking forward to this one though, Austin.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm all ready, and I hope everybody at home is ready as well, because we are about to rock and roll here from Road America. Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin is about to get a little bit louder here in these trees. as all of our drivers are getting up onto the grid. We're just waiting on one driver right now, but I think they're just going to be taking the high road and just letting all these drivers start as they're going to be starting for the pit lane. And it's time to get ready to rock and roll up here from Elkhart Lake. It is 5 red lights as we are green, green, green. And it's a fantastic start by Theodore Burns, who jumps Eddie Samborski for the lead of this race on the front straightaway. Behind him is Derecho and Marsky as Omar Baja gets a good run as well at the start. They go a little bit 3 wide, but it's Theodore Burns leading out Samborski, Derecho, Macias, Baja, Exposito, and Dennis Cornu, your top 7 right now as they fly through turns 1, 2, and 3. Ooh. And big movement in the braking zone right there. A little bit of drivers just trying to get a bit of freedom as we had one driver get very loose coming out of turn 3 right there. I think that might have been Jay Lawrence who got a little bit squirrely on the throttle, a little bit too much mustard already on lap 1 as it's hard down into the brakes. A big lockup into the brakes as all these drivers are just feathering in there. That was the number 12 of Omar Baja locking up as they go up the hill and heading into one of my favorite complex of corners where the bratwurst is always being cooked.
Great start though from Theodore Burns, leads this race so far. A late move as well for Omar Baja down towards turn 5, got the move done, but certainly surprised Sergio Macias on the apex of said corner. Carl, though, gaining, but look at the gap that Theodore Burns already has over Samborski, 0.4 of a second, although that will eliminate as we head down towards Canada Corner, turn number 12. This is where Samborski could use that draft, use that slipstream, and Burns already feeling the need Austin to go defensive. And is that a little bit of an indication for what we are going to be in store for here tonight?
Well, when you have the Max Verstappen of iRacing Formula 3.5, that's a good and bad thing at the same time. You're kind of going to have your eyes on the back of your head at all times because Eddie will go for a move if he thinks that he can do it as they go down the front straightaway to complete this first lap. But can we talk about that start off the line that Theodore Burns had? We saw Eddie have a great start last time but this start by Theodore Burns was fantastic to get that lead. He's got Eddie right on his gearbox. Eddie's just going to back away, just play this safe, but he's going to be very dangerous heading into this next corner. But don't count out Carlos Derecho in that background as well. He's going to be there as we head through turns 3 and into 3A. I am not using this track map anymore.
Carlos Dreschko really needs to get the move done on Samborski. Samborski's been really quick in the latter stages of the race. This is where he's most vulnerable. Dreschko looks to the inside, heading towards turn 5. Look in the background as well. Austin, side-by-side action everywhere you're looking. Jason Sieg to the inside.
Yeah, Jason looking it down to the inside and making it look absolutely perfect. Morgan Keane, though, has had an incident in the background.
And that will be our first incident of the race. It's been remarkably clean so far, Austin, but Morgan Keane falling down the order. He has gotten going again, but all the way down in 23rd place.
I think we're going to be seeing a Indy Lights or Indy NXT incident right here in the braking zone, and that's just you step on the brakes and nothing happened. Got a little bit of airtime too, and into the wall goes Morgan Keane. If you haven't seen the Indy Lights here incident of this season, that inside curb or the outside curb that drivers use as their braking mark, they will pretty much straddle it. Had a little bit of a bump, and one of the cars got airborne in the braking zone, which I'm glad we did not see that so far in this race for these Formula 3.5 cars. But there is a noticeable bump there.
There certainly is, yeah. Knew the incident that you were talking. Look at this, though, as well. Austin Samborski a little bit wide of the mark through the final quarter, turn 14. Huge opportunity for Carlos Dreschko to get past Eddie Samborski.
Yeah, Carlos got to find that right opportunity, and here he goes. He's calling a shot. Theodore Burns giving Carlos a little bit of a trap to help him out. We're going 3 wide, heading in turn 1, 2 in 1, heading into 1. Carlos Derecho, your new leader at Road America.
Crucially, Samborski couldn't find his way past Theodore Burns. Burns defended on the exit of turn 1, and that is going to allow Carlos Dreschko to cruise up and gain a bit of an advantage. 6 tenths separates himself from second place so far. Look at this in the background. Cornu coming, pressurizing Omar Baja. Baja's been to the late breakers so far into turn 5.
Yeah, Baja around the outside. Dennis Cornu on the inside, though. Cornu getting the lawnmower out on that straightaway. Had to cut across the grass just a little bit to get all the space from that. Baja was defending from him. But Dennis Cornu up into 5th and get the grass cutters out for that man. That definitely knows how to get that thing on the grass and keep it going.
Yeah, great move by Dennis Cornu, who's the fastest man in the final sector in qualifying. Fastest man on the grass so far. That's a late move from Jorge Lopez as well.
As we go side by side through Speedville around the outside, holding that outside line, that is Omar Baja as Jorge Lopez chasing him down as they head into the kink right now. Top end speed as they are on the gearboxes. Lopez going to be looking down the inside of Baja. Yes, he is heading into Canada corner, but he's just going to be backing out right there, getting onto the brakes. Yeah, a little bit squirrely off the exit, but stays in line with everybody else as we can all take a little bit of breath. And we go back to that front straightaway. Is Eddie Samborski going to be looking for a move on Theodore Burns?
Theodore Burns had the pace in qualifying, hasn't necessarily found it so far in racing conditions already on lap 4. Samborski, this is a really crucial move for him. He needs to find his way past Theodore Burns. He needs to illuminate the car between himself and Carlos Tereshko, but Tereshko is just finding so much pace out there at the moment. The fastest man on the track in terms of their lap times. Actually 5/10 quicker than what Samborski could muster in terms of their fastest laps, Austin. So Carlos Tereshko certainly got a good chance so far. Somebody's run a little bit wide through turn 3. You can see the dirt being kicked up. Watch for that later on in the race as the tires wear out.
Burns got a nose onto the outside. They've made contact in the brake zone. A little bit of forcing a lockup by Derecho. Derecho's got pushed off the track. And off the track goes Derecho after that contact by Theodore Burns. Samborski is back into second and back into the lead is Theodore Burns.
The last thing those two needed was to come together. Samborski undoubtedly is a little bit of a bigger threat, certainly at this stage of the race. And to come together, it was a little bit unnecessary from Carlos Tereshko. But then it was a late move as well from Theodore Burns. We have a look at the replay, Austin, and we'll see who was at fault, if there was anybody at fault.
There's just a small little bit of contact right there. And once he got contact, the wheels locked up, and he got it just unfortunately couldn't get the car stopped, and he hit that bump, and that just made it even worse. He got pushed off the track. And speaking of pushing, here is Lopez pushing on the back door of Omar Baja, looking down towards the inside, headed to Canada corner. He's going to be looking for that move, but not committed enough. A block by Baja, though. He's forced a mistake as they go side by side at Canada corner. Lopez around the outside. At the next corner, it is Jorge Lopez making it up for 6th place. Beautiful fight throughout the corners. Rhodes behind them has had an issue as well. Simone Pizzica in the background. Simone Pizzica goes flying it through the final corner.
Pizzica, the first man to fall foul of turn 14. He'll get away with it, though, just with a very, very slow exit. Sergio Macias, look at that lap time. 4/10 quicker than the car ahead of him. Eddie Samborski, 6/10 quicker than the race leader. Samborski, once again, is coming under threat from a car behind. Samborski, he needs to make this move as quickly as possible to escape, really, the absolutely rapid Sergio Macias as he head towards turn 5. The scene of the incident 1 lap ago. Does Samborski feel the need to make the lunge?
Well, Eddie has been watching these two fight up ahead of him. They saw that mistake, and Eddie, I think, just wants a clean race right here, and it's just going to let them have their own fight. Speaking of fight, we got a beautiful side-by-side into the brake zone. Hello, Samborski is now in the lead. Theodore Burns had a little bit of issue. Eddie Samborski goes into the lead now.
So Samborski wanted to pressurize Theodore Burns into a mistake, and that's exactly what's happened, and that's allowed Sergio Macias to catch up as well. Austin, this is the replay. This is how the lead changed hands.
I think Burns got pushed out a little. Oh, squirrely on the entry, and the car just looked like it just dropped off all the speed right there, and Eddie Samborski, well, pretty much cruised by him like he was just pulling over to the side of the road to look at the scenery, because that is pretty much what happened to Theodore Burns. Just got a little bit squirrely on the entry, then nothing he could do after that.
So Samborski back into the lead of the race after starting on pole but being overtaken before turn 1. And what can Sergio Macias do? He needs to find his way past Theodore Burns. Burns is acting like a little bit of a cork in the bottle, I think, at this phase of the race. And don't count out Carlos Tereshko as well, 4th place as well. Had that contact with Theodore Burns, but he's catching up to this leading pack, so he can still play a little bit of a factor in this race. And actually, Dennis Cornu in 5th. He's not too far behind this race. Certainly not done and dusted, Austin.
Yeah, the race is still on as our top 3, technically top 4, are still in it. The red show, he's down into 4th. Sergio Macias can definitely go for it. The same move that his fellow countryman did a few laps ago. Are we going to be seeing another 2-1 for the lead? Burns is still on Eddie's tail. Burns looking down towards the inside, but is just staying on his line as they follow Eddie. Eddie goes a little bit wide, kicked up a little bit of dust right there. Is Eddie going to fall to a little bit of foul? A little bit of a foul incident right there with that squirreliness that Theodore Burns fell to, but Burns is right there on Eddie's tail. He's done this in real life, and he definitely knows how to do it in sim. Let's ride on board with Theodore Burns as we fly through Speedville.
Such a good corner. This is just long. You sort of wait for the front tyres to grip, and you have to wait a little bit more because it pinches right on the exit. So easy to run wide and get an off track through the kink. Flat out, easily flat out, even in the dirty air of Eddie Samborski ahead of us up towards Canada Corner. A valid overtaking opportunity. Theodore Burns thinks about it. He almost positions himself to maybe send it to the inside. Certainly signposts it to Samborski to say, I couldn't send it to the inside here, but just decides against it on this occasion, heading up towards turn 14, the most dangerous corner on the circuit, in my opinion, neatly towards the apex as we all make our way around without too much drama. We cross the line to start lap 7, laps flying away oh so quickly around here, Austin, and this battle for the lead not going anywhere. What more could you want on a Saturday evening?
Yeah, one of the longest tracks on iRacing as Burns got a lot of speed, but he's not going to have that challenge right there. Sergio Macias behind him has had a little bit of incident at turn 14. Turn 14 is where Theodore had that little bit of an incident in real life where he got entangled with another driver's wheel that sent him up and over another driver. That was back in the day, but he still loves this place. He still loves driving around it, and he definitely knows what to do around here as we're looking at turn 5. Theodore is right on that gearbox, but every lap he's just getting a little bit closer and closer and trying to force Eddie into a mistake, but it's all clean between them right now. And each of these drivers have had a little bit of mistake so far. Eddie not the best start. Theodore, what we saw in the laps earlier, lap 6, got a little bit squirrely on entry, which gave Eddie the lead back and that contact with the red show, that small contact in the braking zone, which put Burns into the lead and sent Derecho down in the 4th. But 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all on their own, and they're all next to each other right here.
Such a good race unfolding before your eyes. Battles up and down the field as well. Currently a great battle for what would be a 5th place. Cornu ahead of Jorge Lopez. Lopez gaining, sends it to the inside, heading up towards Canada Corner.
Yep, here we go at Canada Corner, down towards the inside. Beautiful move in the braking zone. A lot easier than the first time by Jorge Lopez. And Omar Baja wants to join the fight as well. There goes Sabaside heading into turn 14. Baja had to back out of it though and let Dennis Cornu back into 6th place. They all go diving down towards the pit wall and started that little snake up the track as Theodore Burns right on the gearbox looking down low, but just a little bit too late for a move right there. But they're starting to pull away some Sergio and Carlos behind them, and we got a little 2x2 procession right now.
Interestingly, Carlos Dreshko set the fastest lap of the race on that previous tour of the circuit. The first man into the 1 minute 48 as well, for good measure. So Dreshko, even with that contact that he and Theodore Burns made, but Burns to the inside.
Yep, Theodore sending it and holding that inside line. Eddie going all the way out on that runoff right there, which is now paved. They are now paving that entire runoff area in real life. A new look heading towards Road America. So if you love circuit design, you're going to be loving this little update they're having in real life. But Theodore Burns back into the lead.
Crucial move for Theodore Burns, and Samborski a little bit surprised, I think, that Burns managed to get it slow towards the apex. Samborski went wide and really lost just that little bit of time, and perfect move, you have to say, from Theodore Burns. What can Sergio Macias do? He started to fall adrift of this pack as that's the car off the circuit. Yahar Aiken, not what you want to do heading up towards the carousel. He'll get away with it, lost, I think, 2 or 3 places, and we'll just have to wait for a few corners for all the dirt and stones and gravels to fade away from his tyres.
Sergio Macias chasing down Eddie Samborski. Theodore Byrne is trying to pull away from everybody behind them as Dennis Cornu got caught out at turn 14 right there. And he's going to have to bring out the lawnmower just a little bit as he's going slow. And that's allowed Omar Baja to jump up into 6th place. So look out behind him. Miguel Crespo wants to make 2 and 1 heading into 1. But he's just a little bit too far back to gain any advantage from that opportunity.
So easily done on the exit of turn 14. I wonder, I think Shindoi might have made a little bit of a mistake as well. Him and Jamie Byrne have swapped places for good measure. Just looking at the lap times between Burns and Samborski, and they're all so similar. Even you know, Samborski was lapping within a few hundredths of a second of Burns when he was ahead. It's to the inside. It goes Wolzak on Owens.
Ooh, Owens holding it around the outside. Beautiful defense by John Owens. He went really deep into the brake zone and held that outside move very tightly, leaving the space for John on his inside, but James Byrne absolutely making that work around the outside. John Owens with a very challenging move down towards the inside. Couldn't hold it off in the end, though. James Byrne stays in 10th place.
Yeah, I got that all wrong, didn't I? It was James Byrne and John Owens, of course. Next up for James Byrne is Jason Sieg, a little bit far up the road, 1.6 seconds or so. So it's a tall order, but certainly not beyond the wit of James Byrne. Lawrence in the background starting to catch up to the back of Wolzak. Battles, as I keep on saying, Austin up and down the field. But interestingly, and something that we haven't really said so far this season very often, Samborski doesn't look like he has the pace and actually starting to come under pressure from Sergio Macias. Macias likewise becoming under pressure from from Carlos Dreshko. This battle, oh so close, oh so tight, and oh so enthralling.
That's what happens when you come to Road America. That draft plays a big part. You can't pull away like you can at other tracks that Eddie is used to. Usually by this time, he's usually about 5 seconds to 10 seconds ahead of everybody else. But here at Road America, that draft is his Achilles heel. Other drivers are locked in there with him, and they are fighting with him as well as we're riding on board with Eddie Samborski, looking back at Sergio Macias and Derecho behind him as they are closing in. And they've been closing in every lap, and they are right on his tail right now as we fly underneath the Corvette bridge and continue on here at Road America. Theodore Byrne starting to look like he can pull away from this.
Certainly can if Samborski and Macias and Dreshko start to squabble amongst themselves. And Carlos Dreshko is the quickest man, you have to say, in this pack so far, even after having a little bit of an excursion through the gravel at turn 5. He's caught up to this leading pack, has the pace, but does he have the ability to make his way past Sergio Macias, to make his way past Samborski? Is that Shane Lambert going very slow on the exit of turn 6? And disaster for Shane Lambert, falling down the order now into 21st place. Interestingly, Sergio Macias starting to pressurize Eddie Samborski once again as they make their way around turn 14. Theodore Burns has extended his leading gap up to 0.6 of a second, although that starts to reduce as they make their way down towards turn 1. Look at this, Austin in the background. Carlos Dreshko finally trying to make the move.
He backed out.
He tried to, but he backed out of it.
He wanted to go for 2 and 1, but he knows if he started to fight with Sergio, they could possibly fall away from Eddie Samborski and Theodore Burns in the fight for the lead. If he wants to go for that move, well, Sergio has to go for that move first, or else they will be fighting amongst themselves and tripping over themselves. But I think Carlos is going to go for it right now. Here we go, the fight for 3rd place and trying to keep that fight for the lead going on, but he's backed out again. He wanted to go low, but he just didn't have the closing speed to chase down Eddie Samborski. And honestly, I wouldn't go for that move. You're at the back of this train, just wait for something to happen. See if the car wants to go in before you and try to follow him along and make a move up on Eddie as well. Push Eddie down into 4th. Don't fight upon yourselves for 3rd place. Just trying to take advantage of the situation. Use that draft to your advantage and don't try to lose the draft. Let's run up board to Carlos as we fly through this long carousel. One of my favorite corners in all of racing so fast and, well, so much right with that corner.
Oh, undoubtedly.
And it smells great with everybody camping out.
Good to know. Camping tips with Austin. Theodore Burns has lost a whole chunk of time though through this lap, and Samborski right up against the rear end of Theodore Burns. It's battles further down the field. This is Dennis Corneau and Omar Baha. This battle ceased for a few laps, but certainly has ferociously roared into life once again.
Yep, Corneau up into 6th. Baha just losing the pace in the straightaway, and Samborski got a little bit of a good run going on. He's looking down the inside just slightly. He's not going to go for the move, though, but that's allowed Sergio Macias. Had a little bit of mistake at turn 14, but he's brought back that advantage on that straightaway to get back on the tail of Eddie as we go side by side down the field. Baha and Corneau back at it again. Corneau stays ahead of Baha as they fly through turn 2, as here we go again. Don't not count out Crespo. Crespo's been back there. He's been very patient watching these two. And I think Miguel wants to have a little bit of taste of this action. Looking down the inside, got caught off. He's looking around the outside, and oh, late switchback by Baja. Hello, baby, with a late move down towards the inside and making him place back up into 6th. I thought Baja was looking around the outside, then a late opportunity showed itself, and he went after it.
He certainly did, Austin. Great move by Omar Baha. Really had the measure of the braking zone into turn 5 all this race. Made a great move on the opening lap as well for good measure. Baha really good under braking, but Dennis Corneau has been ferociously quick in that final sector, and that means that by the time they get to turn 1, Baha might have a little bit of an issue keeping the fast Corneau behind him.
Now, Omar Baja is still going to be challenged because these two have been fighting on the straightaways pretty much every time they get onto a straight. Here we go again. Baja, Corneau side by side. Baja cut across the nose right there, able to keep 6th place, but Dennis Corneau is still back there, followed by Miguel Crespo and Jason Sieg as well. As they fly through turns 14. Is Dennis going to have the pace? I think he's just a little bit too far behind him. Miguel Crespo could have a little bit of move. Speaking of a little bit of move, Eddie Samborski could have a late move. Decides not to have it again. But look who is knocking on his door. It's Sergio. Sergio definitely wants to have a move for 2nd place. Maybe for the lead. Can we get a little bit 2-in-1 action here as we race down underneath this beautiful real cheese bridge. Not made in real cheese, but it's sponsored by people who know real cheese. We're in Wisconsin.
Macias hitting the rev limiter in the double slipstream there, and that's going to really hamper his ability to make his way past Eddie Samborski to really make any overtakes. He's just running out of RPM range. The engine can simply go no quicker, and instead of being able to speed you up, the engine starts to slow you down. Samborski is so quick through this middle section up towards the braking zone of turn number 8 into now turn 9, the carousel. This is where we're going to see can Macias start to gain on Samborski. Samborski takes a wider line through there, Austin. He'll give him a great slingshot out of the carousel, up towards the King, up towards Canada Corner. Maybe Samborski thinking about trying to make the move into Canada Corner.
Yeah, it definitely wants that move, but once again, that rev limiter popping in. It kind of reminds you of the 2020 F1 season where the cars were derating like crazy with the hybrid system in its, well, being very difficult at that time, and derating it certainly is for Sergio. Behind him, Derecho is probably just tapping his foot like, come on, I'm getting a little bit impatient right now. I need to go for this move, and I think he is right now. Here comes Derecho down towards the inside of Macias. They're going for the move for 3rd place down the front straightaway, but the draft by Sergio is helping him out, but Derecho down towards the inside right now. He has to back out of it. That was a wasted opportunity by Carlos on Sergio. He wanted to go for it, but he couldn't have it because that wasted use. Yeah, the wasted use of DRS.
Yeah, sorry, Austin, to cut across you there. Yeah, a wasted use of DRS. And Dreshko, you can always feel the desperation from where we're sitting in the commentary booth.
Yeah, he's wanting to go for it again. They toss! They got airborne in it! They both go into the grass. Big crash for 3rd place. Derecho and Macias Derecho wanted to go down towards the inside. I think he had second guessing or something. And then they both made collisions. And they both go off the track. Sergio Macias, big collision with the wall. And he's got suspension damage and a big side pod damage on the right-hand side. That was chaos and a half. Let's run out board with Carlos Derecho, see what happened. He's got that inside line clear. He's going towards the inside right now. And then he second guesses it and pretty much hooks him. Well, that was going for a move and then second guessing, and unfortunately that was just a little bit too late for Carlos Derecho.
Yeah, Carlos just pulled into the slipstream of Sergio Macias a little bit too late, got caught out by the extra speed that he gathered pretty quickly in Carlos Dreshko's defense. But yeah, I think Carlos Dreshko will have to take the blame for that incident. Miguel Crespo and Dennis Cornu. Well, I said Cornu was quick in this final sector, but he's coming under pressure once again heading into Canada corner. He might be quick, but he's certainly not enjoying this final few corners of this circuit.
Yeah, final few corners is going to be a big surprise. And speaking of surprise, you might have a surprise for third place. Derecho has damage, Sergio Macias has damage, and Jorge Lopez is looking for a third place as his car is brand spanking clean. He's got no one else around him to challenge. Goes down towards the inside and up for fourth place, and up ahead as Derecho is in third. He's going to be looking for third. Miguel Crespo and heading into turn one. Down the inside of Dennis Cornu. And here comes Crespo chasing down Omar Baja, who has got a little bit of clean air behind him. Baja may have to start getting a little bit worried because here comes Miguel Crespo as well as Jason Singh, the Downforce Racing crew. They were biding their time, but here they come. Final 5 laps, here we go.
Yeah, already down to the final quarter of this race, and well, the driver that will benefit the most from Dreshko and Macias' incident will be undoubtedly Jorge Lopez, but spare a thought for Eddie Samborski as well. That pressure that has suddenly been taken off his shoulders will allow him to focus fully on trying to get past Theodore Burns. So the battle for first, it had 4 cars, becomes 2, but most certainly is not over. This battle will go to the end, I am sure. And maybe if these two start to fight, if they start to get very, very aggressive with each other, maybe Jorge Lopez could pull off a fairly spectacular race victory. I live in hope, I think it's fair to say, Austin.
I think you're an agent of chaos for thinking that way, but I applaud that.
Somebody's got to do it in the commentary booth. As a little bit wide from Theodore Burns, won't be helping his run onto the back straight, and Samborski can sense when the pressure is working. Look at the Jorge Lopez already caught up to the back of Carlos Dreshko. Jorge Lopez is absolutely flying out on the circuit at the moment. He has really got the bit between his teeth.
I think that also shows how much damage is on Carlos Derecho's car. You can see the bent front wing, the scratched up nature of that car. It's really struggling, and we could just look at the last lap, 1 minute 51 compared to the 1 minute 48 by Jorge Lopez as he races up into third place. Well, that actually was about half a second faster than Theodore Burns and Eddie Samborski ahead of them, but I think it's just too little too late for Lopez to make a charge for the lead unless Burns and Samborski decide to go side by side throughout the entire lap, maybe twice. Then Lopez could challenge for the lead of this race, but currently Lopez sitting in third and not going to be challenged. He's going to be having to cleanly race the rest of this race and maybe hope amongst the stars if Burns and Samborski have an incident. But currently, our fight for the lead is our headline battle right now. Theodore Burns versus Eddie Samborski.
Samborski had a tough run of races in the last couple of races or so. Of course, 1 week ago at Long Beach, all came undone for him. So how much risk is Samborski willing to take to get a race victory today? Theodore Burns as well. How much does he want this race win? Does he want to get to the end, or does he want to take glory? And that's it. Lots of decisions, micro decisions going on in both of these cockpits at the moment. That's why racing is so enjoyable. But Samborski, you have to say, has got the advantage. He's got the ability to follow Burns, and Theodore Burns, all he can do is just soak up the pressure and just not hope, but just allow himself just to not feel the pressure from Samborski. But Samborski going for a move heading into turn 1.
Samborski down low. Is this a little bit too early? Is he going to have the opportunity to clear Theodore Burns? Yes, he does, but that's given Theodore Burns the draft now. and Theodore Burns could get that move immediately back because I think Eddie Samborski didn't use DRS to be making that move. So we're going to have a little bit of interesting fighting. Speaking of interesting, side by side heading into turn 1, Sieg and Cornu. Cornu, though, around the outside. Gave Sieg a little bit of squeeze on that apex right there, but Jason Sieg under pressure. Is he making a little bit of a mistake off the exit? Here comes James Byrne onto the inside of Jason Sieg. Byrne up into the knife, but now Sieg's down onto the inside, heading into turn 5. Can he retake that spot? But he's got a little bit of traffic up ahead. Sieg around the outside. Well, he's got the move on the inside. Byrne went wide around the outside. He's hit that bump, got airborne. He had to surrender that spot. Byrne had Dennis Cornu up ahead of him, and that traffic up ahead has forced a big mistake from a potential 9th place for James Byrne.
And James Byrne as well went over those horribly sort of huge bumps. We're surprised if he's gotten away without a little bit of floor damage at least. So Burns might just have to hope that these two up ahead have a little bit of an incident, because I think his pace might be affected by that mistake. Theodore Burns up ahead in 2nd place, starting to fall adrift of Eddie Samborski, almost half a second your leading gap. Samborski runs a little bit wide on the entrance of turn 14, and this is where Theodore Burns will get the draft. But is that Samborski using a little bit of DRS? I think it is. So Samborski has saved up some DRS uses and putting them to good use at the moment.
Yeah, this is where Eddie starts doing Eddie things. He got the lead late in the race. He knows how much DRS uses he has. He loves to dump them at the end of the race. And now he's going to try to pull out that 1 second gap, pull away from Theodore Burns. And he's currently doing just that. Theodore needs to get his head together, close down that gap, use his DRS, get into that draft and close it back in there and start challenging Eddie Samborski, or else Eddie's going to start running away with this. But Eddie, the draft has given him that 3/10 advantage by Theodore Burns, but now Burns, he's on his tail. He needs to be making his move this next time, heading through the carousel down into Canada corner, or else I would say it's too little too late for Theodore Burns with just 2 laps to go.
And just to compound Sergio Macias's race, he's been overtaken by Miguel Crespo, so Macias now down into 7th place. Of course, after that contact with Carlos Dreshko a few laps ago, Burns, he's either saving his DRS uses for the final lap, he's going to go for one last gas, one last amazing overtake, probably into turn 5, or Theodore Burns has utilised his DRS uses already in this race to try and keep ahead of Eddie Samborski. But Burns on this lap looks quicker, he looks more assured, and he looks like he can follow Samborski through the twisty middle sector. And that should mean that by the time he gets to the final sector and he goes down the start-finish straight, he should be able to utilise that slipstream effect. So this battle for the lead isn't over, but it's an uphill battle if Theodore Burns wants to get this race win here tonight.
DRS being used by Eddie Samborski and Theodore Burns right now. Onto the straight they go. 4/10 separate them, and look at that gap. It's not closing at all. Advantage Theodore Burns that time by 4/10 separate them, and they have a slower car up ahead. 2 laps to go here at Road America.
So interestingly, Theodore Burns was not on the DRS, and what that tells us is that if Samborski has DRS usage, he can almost nullify the effect of the slipstream. But Samborski a little bit slower than he was on his previous lap. But you're right,
Burns,
we've got a lap car. He is using it now. That lap car up ahead, Shane Lambert, by the way, Austin.
Well, Shane Lambert and Eddie Samborski, no history that I can recall on them, so this might be a very easy blue flag by both of them, but the fight for the lead, you can tell that this is a very tense fight between these two. Theodore Burns, Eddie Samborski. Samborski got a little bit off the track right there. There goes Shane Lambert onto the inside of letting these two fight after it, and he doesn't want to become a factor in this fight for the lead. As we ride on board of Theodore Burns, a little bit of correction off the exit right here. But Theodore Burns, he's now started to use his DRS. He's counted how many DRS uses he has, and he's determined that he has enough to use it until the end of this race. We fly through the kink right now and into the tree tunnel as we head to Canada corner. Theodore Burns has got a big amount of speed right now. Here comes Burns. Burns going to go for the lead right here. Samborski defending onto the inside. Burns looking for the outside of Canada corner, going for the switchback right here of Eddie Samborski. It's not going to happen. Samborski though, big hit of oversteer, a little bit too much mustard wheel spin right there, but he saved it right now as we fly through 13, heading into 14. Burns looking for the move as the white flag is flying through the air. 1 lap to go in our fight for the lead for the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here on Apex Racing TV at Road America.
On the DRS, this is crucial for Theodore Burns. He needs to make the move. Samborski, defenseless. Theodore Burns to the inside. Oh, so close action.
Burns onto the inside and Burns into the lead on the final lap. Samborski is on his tail. He's going to have a few more straights to go. Theodore Burns with his eyes buried into the back of his head, into his mirrors. Activated by Theodore Burns. No DRS by Eddie Samborski. Burns into the lead as we head down towards turn 5 right now. Theodore Burns advantage by 3/10 heading into turn 5. Remember what happened at turn 5, a little bit of contact with him and Crespo as they do not have any contact right there. Theodore Burns, just a few more corners and a few more straights to go. Eddie Samborski, what tricks does Eddie has up his sleeve? Another snaky situation by Theodore Burns in the breaking point. He's lost the lead by that same incident earlier in this race. It's happened again. That's given the advantage back into Eddie Samborski's hand. Samborski is on the tail of Theodore Burns as we fly through the carousel for one last time.
Something's happened to Carlos Dreshko. He's fallen down the order, down in 11th spot. Just to update you, because he was fighting for the lead earlier on. This is the last opportunity for Eddie Samborski to make the move. Has he saved up a DRS usage? I wonder. Well, we're about to find out. Heading towards Canada Corner, the last real overtaking opportunity on the circuit, Austin.
Burns going defensive, Samborski going offensive. DRS is being used by Theodore Burns. Samborski does not have DRS. No overtaking opportunity heading into Canada Corner as we got the final corner selections right now. Theodore Burns had drama in his real life race around here in this same corner. No drama for Theodore Burns right now. We got a drag race. DRS activated with both the drivers. Up the hill they go. Engines are revving. Tempers are flaring. Speed is climbing right now as the checker flag is waving at the line. It is Theodore Burns by 0.05 of a second at the line.
And if that start-finish line was a few meters further down the road, Samborski would be your race winner, but Theodore Burns, what an amazing race by him. Jorge Lopez will finish in 3rd, a great race by him as well. So too is that man Omar Baja. Miguel Crespo up 2 places to finish in 5th as we have more racing to the line in the background. Austin Road America never failed to deliver. Is that car going a little bit slowly as Sergio Macias crept across the line, but soak it in, Theodore Burns. What a race win here tonight.
That was awesome to watch. That was so close. 0.05 of a second. I know there is a achievement on iRacing that is usually achieved in oval racing. This is the rare opportunity where you see 0.05 of a second separating our race win. Theodore Burns and Eddie Samborski separated by 0.05 of a second at the line. Take a bow, you two. That was beautiful. And Theodore Burns, well, I would say he's holding up a #1 right there because he takes the win at Road America.
Supreme victory. Really thoroughly enjoyed that race. Austin always delivers, doesn't it, the Formula 3.5 Championship, but certainly around Road America today. And, well, we don't tend to see the drivers always do it in lap, but you tend to get it when you tend to see it when the driver...
He's drinking it in, man. He's drinking it in.
When you win the race, why wouldn't you? It's so fun.
Oh, he's getting a little bit of salute. He's getting a salute by Miguel Crespo, his teammate right there. Theodore Burns takes the win ahead of Eddie Samborski. Driver ad blocker, that's a new one. They're followed by Jorge Lopez, Omar Baja, Miguel Crespo, Dennis Cornu, Jason Sieg, James Byrne, Lucas Walsack, and Sergio Macias, Jamie Byrne and Carlos Derecho, J.M. Lawrence, John Owens, and Takashi Shinoda, Morgan Keaton, Yaya Ennis, Ankin, Daniel Gaz, and Kobus Mari, followed by Carl Lemkool at 20th place, followed by Gerhard Rotz, Isaac Ruska, Shane Lambert, Leonardo Reiter, and Simon Pizzica, as this salute is not by one car. I think it's pretty much the entire grid and the Downforce racing community, as it is a 1, 2, 3 salute by them. They're all driving with each other right now, as Theodore Burns, I think we're going to be treated to a little bit of a smoke fest right here. Theodore Burns takes the win as he's flanked by his teammates right here as he gets ready to burn it. Wait. Burn it down! Theodore Burns style at Road America. He celebrates a wonderful victory here. It's unfortunately a little bit too narrow to do proper. Oh, no, there we go. Donuts here at Road America.
Theodore Burns, a man that is so quick, facing in a straight line. Donuts, a little bit difficult. It's certainly a narrow track, but
They're Teddy styled. They're Teddy styled.
You don't need to be good at donuts. You just need to be good when pointing in the right direction. And Theodore Burns, he had the pace, he had the measure of Samborski, and actually played his DRS uses absolutely perfectly. Sort of almost goaded Samborski into burning them up earlier on in the race, and that just allowed him to utilize his own DRS uses later on to get the race win, to secure his victory. Supreme driving.
Well, we got time for only one interview today, and we are joined by the man in number 1 in the first spot, Theodore Burns. How was that action? And a little bit of redemption after all those years of struggle here at Road America, especially back in your real-life incident. Congrats on this win, man.
Oh, thanks so much. That was awesome. It is so great to get back here and finally racing this series again in the broadcast, and to finally bring one home and over Ed. That was awesome. I've come so close a couple times. I think I trailed Ed here 2 seasons ago, and couldn't quite get it done then. So just happy to take the W at the home track. It feels amazing.
Home track advantage and a home track victory for the ages. 0.05 of a second separates you and Eddie at the line. What was going through your head on that final lap when you went for the overtake?
So he started using some DRS with 3 or 4 to go, and I just started counting up in my head. It was like, all right, he's used 3, 4, and I knew I had a bunch left in the bank, and I was like, okay, when can I use these? Because I was quick enough I could stay right there in the draft, and so it's coming down to the last lap. I made sure I had one for every single straight, and I had the tire lock up going into 6. I thought I was going around, but somehow drove out of it and had a little bit of a buffer there. So managed to get out there with the DRS and just keep him behind me. And coming out of 14, I knew he was going to come fast, and luckily was able to just beat him to the line. It was close.
Yeah, separated just by margins right there. We got 2 races left in the season. Barcelona, historic version, and Phillip Island. Should we expect to see you there, or was it just a one and done for today?
I had to make a special exception for the home track, so we'll see if I can make a couple of rounds. I don't know if I'll be able to make the broadcast, but hopefully I'll be out there racing you guys all week. So yeah, always enjoy racing the series. So happy to bring home the good result.
Well, we're happy to see you, and happy to see you in the lead and taking the win. Before we let you go, anybody you want to thank and anybody you want to celebrate this win with?
Yeah, I got to thank all the Downforce racing cars. We only got 2 of them up there in the top 5, but hats off to Miguel, Jason, and newcomer Carl, Joshi, for just all the help all week, setup-wise. I mean, we had a fast car out there, and it just made it so much easier. Thanks you guys at Apex putting on a great broadcast. Look forward to going back and watching it.
All right, congrats on the win, and thank you everybody for joining us here on track. We can't do this broadcast without anybody racing on track, so thank you everybody for showing out week in and week out and enjoying yourselves out there on track. And thank you everybody for joining us here on Apex Racing TV in the live chat as well. And hello to everybody watching this race back on in the comments. I've been joined by Sebastian Bosher Williams in the commentary booth. We got John Robertson in the production booth. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.